Welcome to CBTV.
Part 2. Describe a beautiful city that you have visited. You should say where the city is, when you went there, why you went there, and explain why it is beautiful. So, I'm gonna talk about this gorgeous city I had the chance to visit, Luyen. It's a quaint little town down in central Vietnam. I went there back in 2019 during one of those long weekends. Honestly, I was just looking to break away from the hustle and bustle of city life, and Hoi An seems like the perfect escape. Now, what makes Hoi An stand out in its incredible charm? It's like stepping back in time, you know? The city has these streets that are lined with these old yellow colonial houses. And the lanterns, they hang across the streets, turning the whole place into something straight out of a fairy tale once the sun goes down. Hoi An is not like your typical touristy city that's buzzing with activity. It's has this laid-back, tranquil atmosphere that just forces you to slow down and witness what it has to offer. I spend my days wandering around the town, exploring little art galleries, sipping coffee at some quaint cafes, and just watching the world go by the river. It was blissful to say the least. The food there was another highlight. You've got to try their local dishes like cao lầu and bánh mì Hoi An. It was super affordable too. But you know what's really tied it all together? The people. They were so warm and welcoming. Everywhere I went, I was greeted with smiles and friendly chit-chat. It was so refreshing, even though I gotta admit that I was not used to their accent, so I often had to ask them to repeat what they said. It was kinda embarrassing given that I'm Vietnamese. If you ever get a chance, you should definitely check it out. It's a little paradise that I can't wait to go back to. Part 3. 1. What are the differences between modern town and modern cities? Size, facility, etc. While the city, on the other hand, on the one hand, are often bustling with activity, packed with skyscrapers and a lot of modern amenities, from swanky shopping centers to high-end medical facilities. Towns, on the other hand, are smaller, probably less crowded, and the pace of life isn't as fast as in the city. You've got your basic facilities, sure, but don't expect the glitz and glamour of city life. 2. Why do some people like to visit historical sites? Hobby, researching any obligatory cases, etc. You see, people flock to historical sites for all sorts of reasons. For some, as a hobby, like collectors hunting for rare stamps, they get a kick out of learning more about history and culture. Then you have researchers who want to piece together historical puzzles. And of course, there are those who visit because it's part of their study curriculum or job. And then they have tourists who are simply curious about what such sites have to offer and what stories they tell. 3. Do you think old buildings should be broken down and given space for modern buildings? It depends really. There are old buildings that bear no historical or cultural significance and are downright dangerous because of wear and tear. They should definitely be knocked down, but there are buildings that hold centuries of history and story. Knocking them down is just not right. 4. The historic preservation contradicts economic development. I guess preserving old buildings can sometimes affect new developments. But here's the twist. Preserving these historic spots can also be a gold mine. Think tourism dollars. Like Hoi An is a magnet for tourists, and tourism here rakes in so much money. If managed well, the old can complement the new, and everybody wins. 5. Is it the government's responsibility to preserve historic cities and historic buildings? Absolutely. Preserving historic cities and buildings isn't just about keeping the bricks and mortar intact. It's about lifeguarding our heritage, the story of who we are. Sure, it might be a costly affair, and the government might have to juggle a bit with the budget, but it's a worthy investment.